What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Barbells and Trails podcast. I'm your host, Brett. We are back with episode 34. We are starting December. It is December 5th at 4th right now. And we're here. We're working through December. First thing, fundraiser is finished. If you guys didn't know, I posted on all social medias trying to get some last minute donations, and we did really well. I was actually very happy. By the end of it, we ended up with $1,015 donated, serving, I think, I couldn't tell you how many people actually. This is 20 odd people estimated, but considering at the beginning of the day, on the last day we were at 500, I will take it. We doubled it within like 4 or 5 hours, so that was absolutely amazing. I did donate another $100, but there's a few other people that donated and ran up that, so I was very, very happy by that. The goal was 5,000, got 1,000, but my original goal before I actually made the fundraiser was 500, so I'll take it. That's double more than what I was originally going to shoot for, so even more people helped. I'm glad. So that was awesome, and thank you for being a part of that. Not only that, the other channels are official. Barbells and Trails clips and Barbells and Trails shorts are out. Barbells and Trails shorts for me aren't doing too bad. I mean, I've had some breaks in between. Trying to figure out how to edit the shorts and get everything clipped out in a timely manner is becoming an issue. I'm gonna get it. I just gotta like do it in bulk, do like 20 at a time or something, or maybe not that, but I gotta just like sit down and do a bunch at a time to make it easier. But we've been doing pretty good. I think I've already had probably 2,500 views almost on all the shorts, so some of those are doing really well. I think the shorts channel's at like 12 subscribers, the clips channel's at 9. If we're just starting, I cannot complain by that. That's more than, I mean, that happened quicker than where we ended up with the main channel at this point so far. But I have the first video on the clips channel right now. All of a sudden this week just shot up. It didn't do shit. It was at like 14 views or something for days, and then now it's at like 150 something. And the algorithm just kind of picked it up and it kind of sent it out to everybody. And that one was part from the Hitchcock or Hancock. I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden. Graham Hancock, sorry. Graham Hancock's stuff, and that I clipped down and put it in there, and it's done really, really well. I'm actually super glad. Still growing on subscribers. Last month we went up 10 on the main channel, 10 subscribers, so we're still just gonna try to keep progressing, keep moving, and I'm gonna try getting all this shit into fruition and ironed out to make it more consistent on the other channels. So if you guys do want to, I'll have the @ and the handles in the description below, so you can check those out. Possibly go subscribe if you want the other content, shorter content to kind of watch every now and again if you don't want to watch these full episodes. But I do appreciate all the support, and it's been awesome, and I can't wait. Christmas is coming, my favorite time of year. My sister wanted to throw a Christmas party, which we've never done before, so it's going to be interesting trying to do that. I've had an interesting week. I have not hit the gym all week. The last time I worked out was last Saturday with Bailey at Planet Fitness. First time ever being at Planet Fitness. Me and Noah's always talk shit about it, and I am going to talk shit about it. Most of the equipment in there was cardio equipment. I hate when that's like the only thing that's in there. And they got a giant wall of TVs. That's kind of nice to do cardio, I guess. Whatever, that's cool. But they had didn't have shit for free weights, and I was hoping I was gonna set off the lunk alarm, but they didn't even have free weights, so I didn't necessarily have the ability to lift like I wanted to. I wanted to do bench. All they had was Smith machines. I'm not a fan of Smith machines. I see their potential in being able to do heavier weight just by taking your stabilization muscles out of the exercise. I want to make sure my stabilization muscles can keep up with everything I'm lifting, so I don't necessarily like doing Smith machines. Tried it, didn't go well. I was like, we'll do some other workouts. We did some other back stuff and I did like chest press with dumbbells. That was okay, but that was weird. No free weight barbells at all. I hated that. And there's a decent amount of people for Saturday in Vincennes, but could have been worse. I got in for free, so thank you for at least having a free day pass, because I was like, man, I want to work out today. So it was at least nice. But the reason I have not worked out this week, I got sick. So I had a fever basically all day Tuesday, felt like absolute garbage, stayed at home Wednesday from work, which I typically do not do, and just kind of recovered and did some little stuff around the house that I didn't do last weekend because I went and saw Bailey. So I don't even know if I mentioned this on last week's episode. Went down and saw Bailey for like day and a half. Oh yeah, I did talk about Wakanda Forever, but was down there, so I didn't get home till late Saturday night and shit like that. So my whole weekend was kind of shot from my normal routine, and that was also when I started to feel not the best. So my last week has been interesting to say the least, but I did do something that was progress for myself. I bought a new couch. You guys wouldn't know because you've never seen my furniture before, but the furniture I had in my house was old and starting to fall apart, and I needed furniture pretty bad. I ended up ordering stuff from Burrow. I think on Monday, because I was like, hey, what can I find that's on sale? Black Friday, Cyber Monday stuff. What can I get that will be just worth it just because of the sales? What can I find that's like a lot cheaper than normal? I was able to find some shit, and I got a sectional, a 6-piece sectional that was on sale. It was awesome. I'll actually throw up a picture right here. Bam. Just did it all and put it together last night. I wasn't expecting it to show up for at least another 2 weeks, and I was like, okay, yeah, I know what I got to do today. Like yesterday on Saturday, I was like, I need to do this, got to do this, blah, blah, blah. And that was my original game plan at the end of the day Friday, and as I was in bed, I got an email, and I was like, what's this? Looked at it, it's like, oh shit, shipping, my couch is shipped, cool. Let me see when it's actually going to get here. I look, and it says December 3rd, and I'm like, December 3rd? When is that? I was like, isn't that tomorrow? And I look at my watch, said December 2nd. I was like, oh shit, that's tomorrow. I was like, so it was coming from a location in Indiana, and it got here the next day. I was not expecting that at all. I wasn't expecting it for at least another week. So then I spent part of my afternoon, or a decent portion of my afternoon yesterday, moving out the old furniture, moving in the boxes, opening everything up, putting everything together, piecing it all together, getting it in the shape and design I wanted to, and then getting rid of the 7 giant fucking boxes that are bigger than this seat that I'm sitting in now, and trying to clean up and do everything. Well, before that, sweeping and mopping and whatever. So my Saturday did not necessarily go as scheduled, and so I'm kind of like, whew. So trying to get back on track. I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow morning. I can't wait. It's been a week. It's gonna feel good. I hope everybody's getting excited for December. I got some Christmas gifts bought. I've got some stuff. I was able to get some of the stuff I wanted from Seek Discomfort. So I did get some expansion packs for the Spark card game. I don't totally know what all that means, considering this isn't like a typical card game. So I don't know what like an expansion pack is necessarily going to imply, but that is on the way here eventually. So that's really cool. But I'm trying to think what else has happened. Oh shit. In the news, Liver King got busted by More Plates, More Dates, and he was just on Rogan Friday, I think, the episode released. I have not listened to it yet, but I know it has to be a topic of discussion. I guess it depends on when they recorded it on if he actually talked about it. So I'm very curious to see. So Liver King, his whole thing, if you don't know who Liver King is all about eating raw meat pretty much, and basically going back to our ancestral ways of life to basically help combat modern day depression, anxiety, and health, autoimmune diseases, and all this stuff. To an extent, I see what he's saying. So basically, these kids do carnivore. I think doing carnivore in certain situations with certain autoimmune diseases, like in the situation of Jordan Peterson and his daughter, yeah, that was a great benefit, and it's actually had a lot of positive benefits in their life by eating carnivore diet. And I think there's a lot more to be studied and understand what that really does to you. I think I still plan on doing the carnivore diet for the month of January, so I will possibly document that a little bit, and I'll be talking to you guys as I work along through that. So that was interesting in itself, but I don't know why he had to eat all his meat raw, because science actually shows that cooking your meat actually makes the proteins and all the nutrition actually more bioavailable for your body to digest and use. So it's actually doing quite the opposite of what you really want it to. And then not only that, some of the stuff he says I completely get, not necessarily being around technology all the time, not doing certain things, actually working out, being discomforting, being in like nature and being connected to nature kind of in a more natural, ancestral way. I get some of the shit he preaches for sure, but one thing he's always tried saying is he's completely natural. That got busted. I saw the video when it came out. I didn't watch it because it was like hour video on Liver King. I'm good. I can't be bothered. And then I started seeing people post it on like Instagram and a bunch of other shit, and how basically he got a hold of some documents that proves that Liver King was on a regiment for who knows how long, just full of different steroids and I think PEDs. Is that what it's called? Yeah. So he's been on a bunch of shit, and I think he made some sort of apology video. I think I saw, but it was very short, and he didn't really say much, and he's like, yeah, I fucked up. That was about it. I was just like, interesting. So basically everything he's been preaching, that he just works out a lot because he eats this diet and lives this way. That's one reason why he's so healthy and looks the way he does. And it's like, I can't, like, you can be extremely healthy and jacked at his age, and especially if you are supplementing, you're doing certain stuff, and let's say you're taking testosterone replacement if need be, or certain shit, yeah, can you do really, really well for yourself? But to look that lean all the time, the likelihood of someone that age doing that is so low. And the funny thing is, Joe Rogan called it months ago, like 6-7 months ago, and said, yeah, no, there's no way. And he was right. I mean, it didn't necessarily surprise me, because it's like, I don't think that is just super realistic. Like, it's not natural. He had to be taking something. And even if it was testosterone, and that would just be one thing, or maybe certain peptides, like, those aren't even necessarily, like, they have amazing benefits, but those are more natural and not necessarily super, like, prescription drugs to try promoting lean body mass and shit. So it was interesting to see, but he's been getting a lot of shit on Instagram and TikTok and everything else. I'm trying to think. Speaking of social media and Twitter, I mean, who's been brought back in the past couple weeks? Donald Trump, Kanye, Andrew Tate's back on social media apparently. It's interesting. I don't necessarily think Andrew Tate was a negative. I get some of the points he was saying. Could he be a little misogynistic? Yeah, he was a little vulgar in the way he described some of the shit he was preaching. 100%. That was where I was like, dude, it's a little much. But there are certain things he talked about where I'm like, okay, I at least understand where he was coming from with certain points of views. And it was more the women thing at times. I was like, buddy, it's a little rough, little much. So he's back online, so that's interesting. I think Trump and Kanye are. I don't know what they posted. I'm not on Twitter much. I need to be on Twitter more, especially on the podcast Twitter, and start posting more stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But it's interesting with Elon kind of being in charge, trying to get Twitter profitable because they haven't been, and him firing and laying off a lot of workers. It's very interesting. But when you think about it, I think they're now, with how many people they laid off, are just back down to the numbers they were before the pandemic. So when you think about it, that's not that bad. That was only a few years ago. And how many people did they necessarily need? He's trying to be efficient. Considering he bought a company overpriced, he definitely wants to try making his money back and not lose money, and he wants us to be successful. So he's trying to find ways to do that. How he's going to do it is the big question. I think he can. It's going to take time for him to iron a lot of stuff out. Not only that, I don't think a lot of the people there at Twitter are necessarily working. I don't think some people at tech companies know what it is to work. And I mean, I don't say that I work ridiculously compared to some people. 100%. There's so many people that work way harder and do harder things than I do. But at the same time, I know that there's people in Twitter that probably were barely doing shit, actually working a couple hours a day, if that. And then the rest of the day they were caught up meetings, or not even meetings, but doing stuff around the buildings, or almost like campus-like structure for the headquarters, and like sleeping, meditating, making notes, like doing yoga classes that they probably had available, like all sorts of stuff. And it's like, the stuff I do, it's not necessarily glamorous, it's not necessarily super fun. I don't make a lot of money, and I know that there's some people that probably were working at Twitter with maybe a bachelor's degree, basically nothing, maybe political sciences, that ended up working at Twitter, working 2 hours a day and making $100,000+ a year. And it's like, I'm not making anywhere near that, and I'm working at least 45 hours a week, and trying to do a podcast, and trying to study for real estate and do other shit. It's kind of like, you really kind of see where it is. And I think that's also growing up in the Midwest too. You see what it's like to really put in some hours, and some people I know are animals, and they work ridiculous hours, and they work really, really hard. So when I do see stuff like that, I also see where Elon's coming from, and like, why do I need to be paying these people the money we are when they're not necessarily bringing anything to the table? They're just here. They're just a part of it. It's like growing the economy of Twitter by saying, hey, we got all these people, we got all this stuff, when they don't really need to. And it's like, maybe if you just get rid of these employees that aren't doing anything, he's going to save hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in salaries, to then actually be used a year in other stuff, or to pay people that will actually really work and do the jobs that are necessary, and pay them what they're actually worth. So it's interesting. I'd be curious to see what exactly happens to Twitter in the future here, but it's going to be an interesting tale for sure. Okay, so I told you guys last week I was going to read Jordan Peterson's book. I started to, kind of forgot about it, and with how work was going and how my week was, and my routine was completely shot, and being sick, and like I was literally Monday and Tuesday when I was definitely feeling the worst. I wasn't getting out of bed until like I absolutely had to. I'm typically up at 5 and I'm doing other shit. I'm trying to go to the gym. Those 2 days I didn't get up until like, like 6:50, with like 10 minutes to basically get dressed and grab my shit and leave. I didn't bring anything for lunch. I didn't meal prep. I didn't do shit, and I was just dragging my ass to work, and that was about it. So I didn't necessarily get the book read, and it was a little longer than I thought. It was like 10 hours on the audiobook, and I read it or listened to it at a sped up time frame. So I'm gonna try getting through it. I'm gonna get through it this week. I am gonna read it this week. So we will discuss next week on next week's episode. But I'm trying to think what all is going on. I was curious to check out some stuff in the news here. I'll do that in a minute. But Yes Theory just posted a video, I think today, and he went to Somaliland. Interesting. I hadn't heard of this country. I've heard of Somalia. Haven't heard of Somaliland. I didn't, and I realized it was like the 6th or 7th dangerous country in the world, and it was very interesting. I didn't know that there was a divide and there was a difference between Somaliland and Somalia, and that they used to be connected, weren't. Some of the terrible atrocities they talked about, where I think it was in the late 80s, early 90s, where the communistic leader actually bombed one of the cities in Somaliland and killed who knows how many people, at least 250, 300,000 one day, bombing their own city, trying to basically take out the rebellion because they were in civil war at that point. It was a crazy story. I never would have known anything about this country, and for something like that to be shown and talked about and really get an inside look at that country, it was very interesting. And just like the history of that country, it's kind of mind-boggling to see, and it's like that's something I never knew about. I didn't know that country isn't considered a country by the UN. They're still looked at as Somalia, and even though that they're completely different, and that part of the problem to begin with that led to those issues in the Civil War was the colonization of Africa by European countries and creating the colonizational lines of the countries that are known today, when in reality, if you would have wrote up the borders of Africa by tribe, ethnics, language, it would have been completely different. But after most African countries actually got their independence, they just decided to keep it easier because it's already been a couple hundred years that these borders have been drawn up to just stay the same. And because of that, it caused more ethnic struggles throughout Africa, and cultural struggles, language barriers. It caused more difficulties with countries than I ever would have considered or understood until watching that video. And it's like, I guess I would have thought about that maybe in high school a bit, but I didn't understand the actual impact that might have. So it was really cool to kind of see that their perspective and learn about that, because it's something I would have never known about or guessed. But I'm trying to think what else. With Yes Theory, the Iceman, the Project Iceman documentary is out, I think, in select theaters today and Tuesday. Sadly, the closest one to me, there's one in Indy, but they weren't showing the documentary. I really want to see this, so I hope they release it on YouTube or paywall or something. 100% gonna watch it. The closest one for me was Cincinnati, Ohio. That would have been like a 2.5 hour drive to then go see a movie at 4 o'clock this afternoon or something, to then watch it and then drive 2.5 hours back. Just wasn't going to be worth it, sadly. So it is what it is. I will see it when it's available, but I'm glad that they've been having such an amazing support for their documentary and doing so well. And I know that they've been able to expand and do a lot more with their company and Seek Discomfort and everything with this, and it's going to allow them to grow and expand. And I think like Matt, one of the original founders, is actually working on a book, so that'll be interesting when that comes out. There's a lot going on here, you know what I mean? So I'm curious and excited to see kind of where everything goes and how it all happens for him. But all right, well, I did talk about it. Let's get into the news a little bit. The news. Okie dokie. What is going on in the news? Let's see. All right. No more airplane mode. The UE will stop requiring airplane mode on planes. The UE currently requires passengers to disconnect from cell service on flights, citing risk of interference with plane communications and equipment. The EU is will now designate certain 5G frequencies that don't interfere with any airline equipment to airlines. Passengers will be able to connect to the network and use the phones normally. Airlines will be able to charge for the service. But in the United States, that was rejected in 2020 when the network is first changing into 5G. So I guess we won't have that, but hey, it's okay. Musk, I'm putting a chip in my brain. Elon Musk said Neuralink will start brain chip trials on humans in 6 months, and he will get one himself. Musk founded Neuralink in 2016. It develops chips that are surgically implanted in patients' brains to restore functions to those suffering with paralysis, blindness, and other neurological disorders. Musk said they will also enable superhuman cognition. Neuralink has repeatedly fallen behind deadlines and test chips on humans, which requires government approval. On Wednesday, Musk said that Neuralink hopes to begin human trials in 6 months, pending approval. He also said that he will get a chip himself and didn't specify when. Okie dokie. I don't know if I want a chip in my brain, but okay. For the first time, researchers have discovered swimming dinosaurs. Until now, all known aquatic animals from the time of the dinosaurs were not technically dinosaurs. While some dinosaurs were believed to have spent time in the water, one with adaptation to aquatic life had never been found. Researchers now claim a newly discovered velociraptor relative, the Natavinator Pliodontus, lived partially or fully in the water and dove for fish. It has a skeletal similar to crocodiles and penguins, which suggests it was a water-adapted dinosaur. That's interesting. Lockdowns affect teens' brains. No shit. A Stanford study found that teens' brains aged faster than normal during 2020's COVID-19 lockdowns. Reports of anxiety and depression among U.S. adults rose 25% in 2020, and some researchers believe that the number was higher for teenagers. The study compared MRI scans of 128 16-year-old brains before and after 10 months of COVID-19 lockdowns. It found that telltale signs of brain aging, such as growth of brain areas that regulate stress and emotion, aged to the equivalent of 3 years in that time. Premature brains aging increases later life chances of depression, anxiety, and addiction, doctors claim. That's great. That's a lot of fun. Thank God I didn't necessarily live in lockdowns. I graduated right before the shit popped up, so I was out of school and didn't have to deal with it, let alone living in the US. Thank God that we didn't necessarily have any lockdowns in Indiana, not like New York or LA. Well, I think that's actually the main thing in the news right now on their stuff, so I'll leave it at that. But Sidemen, we have talked about these dudes before. Interesting. YouTube group from Britain, England, whatever. I've watched them now for 7-8 years. A long time. I'm feeling old. They just released a video today that I watched on my new couch. You know what I mean? And so they just they in this video they decided to make the Sidemen decided to make 2 Christmas songs for this week's Sidemen Sunday, split into 2 teams. one with $100,000 budget, one with $100 budget, and they decided to make a Christmas song and video. I thought that it would be quite interesting to react to such things for the podcast. We will see how well that goes. So we will react here in a second. Let me get this up and running. Okay, let's see how this goes. I saw them create it, but I have not listened to this song.
It sounds like nice. Yeah. Christmas party, Christmas knees up. Man pulled up, didn't see one knee up. Everyone stush, don't wanna free up. It's fucking October, why's your tree up? Been wrapping them gifts in conch, dropping them off, trying to get my pee up. Then John Lewis put out that shit advert, trying to make man spend his re up. 3 in the morning, man can't sleep. My neighbors lighting up the whole street. N-Power, SSE, Eon, EDF Energy. Them man, they're raking in the P. Dumb consumers still can't see. Mummy's trying to make ends meet. Christmas extortion, Christmas
down your spine, you'll feel a tingle when you hear this festive jingle. This one
Toby with the bars. Okay. I'm liking it. Toby's definitely rocking it. This is so as you can tell, this is the high quality song. So they had the $100,000 budget to make the Christmas song and music video, and that's why they have this crazy production. So they were split into 2 teams. Let's just keep going.
Get wrapped up, no Kris Kringle. See, it's Christmas and you don't wanna miss this. Only laugh cause we're bringing the litness. So you're better off hiding your misses, cause I'm top of a wish list. Sounds like I might jack that. Christmas presents, I stack that. Mrs. Claus got a fat back, so I might have to tap that. Then I'm leaving in Santa's ride. The L try running from bro, then it's deep, so I have to slide.
Christmas drillings make a killing. Got them children crying now that Santa Claus is missing.
Ain't no presents to your birthday.
Ain't no presents to your birthday. Christmas drillings make a killing. Spending all your pee. Don't look under the tree. Ain't no presents to your birthday.
JJ really singing it. Look at that. Okay.
It's a 1, 2, 3. Man, I'll cut down your Christmas tree. Gonna take this flow out in the snow, back to Skid Row, fuck mistletoe. Pull up on Santa and Jack his sleigh. Him and his elves might pass away. Run them all over with his sled.
Vic's line, what the fuck? Like, I want to reload his start because that's Vic's. So the other 3 people that did this song actually make music. Vic does not. Like, he came up as a Minecraft YouTuber. Like, that's where he really got his popularity. So this is interesting to say the least.
It's a 1, 2, 3. Man, I'll cut down your Christmas tree. Gonna take this flow out in the snow, back to Skid Row, fuck mistletoe. Pull up on Santa and Jack his sleigh. Him and his elves might pass away. Run them all over with his sled. Out in Lapland, snow turn red. He's dead. Santa got put in a spliff, irrelevant myth. End of his presence, I plead the fifth. Body is stiff.
Okay.
Merry Christmas, see my Jack in presents. Fuck your life, this ain't evanescence. Man don't want talk, man don't want crop. Man trying to grab your mom, bend her over side in just to show them how I stuff that turkey. Primed up, all my arms get banged up. Sit man down with a 1-2 breeze and a push up to where we're hands up. And I can't do Christmas wavy. Price up, but I'm not Katie.
JJ, you need some dancing lessons, bro.
I'm the man, but I'm no baby. Christmas drillings make a killing. Got them children crying now that Santa Claus is missing. Ain't no presents to your birthday. Ain't no presents to your birthday. Christmas drillings make a killing. Spending all your pee. Don't look under the tree. Ain't no presents to your birthday. Ain't no presents to your birthday. Oh.
Okay. Well, that one was something. It was something. I'm curious to see how the other team does. I'll let you know which one I think was the better one. But yeah, they definitely interesting. All right, let's see what the cheap team, the $100 team, has to offer. I can tell you now that in the video itself, them creating it, they didn't show the video, but you got to see them kind of create the clips and create the song itself. So the songs I have heard, the video's new to me, but I'm curious to see how they put it all together, considering how this song was. Okay.
He was a child, that's just wild. You're out of shit, you're a fat prick, you don't want to smoke, you're fucking boo, man. Oh, my friends is back, you stupid wanker. Yeah, you're a wanker. Sit on my lap, I'll be your Santa. XIX mix of fan R. Fan R. You asked me to turn my back, then you emptied your sack.
Oh, I'm almost crying. Oh God. The lines they came up with, they did not make a normal song. Like JJ's and theirs was good because it seems like an actual song you can listen to. I mean, you can listen to this, but it's not the same category of music by any means. I want to get back to like the drop. Oh, Ethan's lines, Harry's like. Would that be considered the hook or the bridge? Oh God! You guys are making Santa look bad. Like what the hell?
What? He was a child. That's just wild. You're out of shit. You're a fat prick. You don't want to smoke.
Yeah.
You're fucking boo, man. Oh, my friends is back. You stupid wanker. Yeah,
Okay.
you're a wanker. Sit on my lap, I'll be your fan R. XIX mix of fan R.
Better.
Fan R. You asked me to turn my back, then you emptied your sack. Empty your sack, all in my crack. Light up an elf, put him in a pack like FIFA. Smoke Rudolph like Reefer. When I meet your dad, I'm like, hey, nice to meet ya. Randolph on a Sidemen feature. Yes, me on a feature. This track is shit like Creature. KSI can't even rap. This song is this or that, 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 this or this or this.
Okay. Oh! Okay.
I wanted this.
What did I just watch? Oh no. Okay, we gotta go back to the drop. Oh God. The drop though. Okay. Randolph on the ground, okay.
I wanted this, but I got that, I asked for this, but then I got that, I needed this, I already got that, I wanted this, I don't want that. I asked for this, why'd you get me that? Get me that? You bought me this? What the fuck is that? You stupid prick, don't give me that. Give me that. Fuck off, mum, I don't want that.
To be fair though.
Vic?
To be fair though, what?
To be fair though,
what?
The drop! Let's go! Well, I guess that's it. Oh, Lord. They've made Christmas... Okay, so... out of those two songs, I like them both. Creativity, though, I think, on the cheap side. And just the drop and everything else, I think I might have to give it to them. I think I got to give them the dub. Just because there's so much more to it, where it's like they went outside of the proverbial box, I guess, and made not necessarily a Christmas song, but just kind of went crazy with it, and also hilarious at the same time. So I think I'm gonna have to give them the win on that one. But I'm pretty sure they said that in the video that whichever one wins, like whoever has the most streams and views by Christmas wins, and all the money for both of the videos on that channel, any ad revenue from it, they're just gonna donate to charity. So that's really cool. It was definitely a very entertaining video, to say the least, watching them try to put that together and come up with what their final masterpieces, I guess, are. I hope you guys found that just as I guess interesting as I did. But in other news, okay, so I think we're about to call it for today. But I love this. I love how I'm gonna end up going through this entire deck on my own when you're supposed to be playing with this other people and trying to like get to know people, and I'm like doing the exact opposite that they designed this card game for. But it does help with some topics to talk about on a podcast. So thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Matt. I don't know how much you had to do with this design. Thank you. Yeah, just thank everybody from Yes Theory to come up with this. So I'm gonna pull a few cards and we'll probably call it for today, for this week. I think you guys can probably tell listening to my voice, it's still a little jacked up from this week. So we'll see. Next week I'll be a better situation for sure. Do you feel free? Why or why not? See? I'm gonna say no. I mean, I am to an extent, not like I would want to be, especially in my 20s. I think I've always wanted to have something when it came to work and how I made my money more in a entrepreneurial or like something where it's like more flexible and shit like that. And I don't have that at the moment. That's one reason why I was gonna possibly get into and curious about real estate, is to possibly have more freedom and control over my own time, where it's like I can work a lot. I don't necessarily have to. It depends on how much money I want to make, the season, certain things. And in certain situations, it's like if I want to take time off, I can. If I want to travel, I can. And it's all kind of up to my own choice to an extent. Where that's one reason why I like YouTube. That's one reason why I kind of got into the podcast. I didn't want this to necessarily be a form of income. Like, it's not. It's not. Like, I got 41 subscribers. I'm not making money off of this. But it was something where it's like in the back of my head, I know that YouTube can be a form of income down the road. And that's one reason why I kind of wanted to get into doing the podcast and doing this stuff. Just because it like gets my foot in the door to kind of learn about YouTube more and kind of really get into it and actually post stuff and do shit. And it's like, but this is also just fun. I do enjoy this. There's times where I'm like, man, I don't want to record, more because I'm like, I don't know if I'll be able to find something to talk about some cases when I'm not as prepared. But I always seem to find something to talk about and get something out. And when I do, it is enjoyable to do. The tedious things at times is editing and doing stuff. But even then, it's not terrible. It's just time consuming. But it's just so no, I wouldn't say I'm the freest, just because of my work doesn't allow a bunch of overtime, or not overtime, sorry, a bunch of vacation. That's for sure. I would love to be able to travel more. Next year, I think I'm going to. I am just going to do it and travel a little more, so it'll be fun. But hey, hopefully eventually I feel more free than I do now. Have you ever meditated? If so, what is the lesson you learned from meditation? I have. I need to meditate more. It's a hard habit to try to fit in and really start, but I found it helpful because it does help center your mind and bring you to the present moment and focus on one thing only, and that is your breath. So I did like meditation. I do wish I did it more often. It was a great lesson to learn, and it's something that I probably should do and remember to come back to more often in times of mental stress and out of focus. It's something I should do, I would say, at least 3-4 times a week, if not once a day. And it's just something I need to do, even if it's only 10-15 minutes. Like, I need to do it. But it was amazing, and I think other people should definitely look into it and do it, because it's definitely something that's good to try and see kind of how it works for you. Have you ever spent a day without your phone? If yes, how did it feel? If no, why not? I don't think I have. I think I could. I think it would be harder than I would expect, but just because I like being stimulated, and I think that's most people nowadays, and that's not necessarily a great thing. But I typically always have something playing, music, podcast, video, something going on. So I think I could do it. And when I'm out in Oregon, it's practically I'm not on my phone. When I'm with Noah and I'm doing certain stuff and I'm on vacation, I'm doing shit. For most situations that I'm in the moment, my phone is more of a tool, wherein the situations out in Oregon, it's there for directions, slight communication with people, taking pictures, stuff like that, and possibly music in the car while driving. But other than that, I'm typically not on social media. I'm not doing other bullshit. So I could do it. I think that would be something where it's like I need to figure it out, where there's just like a day or two, like a weekend or something, just do like a detox. I have a week off in a couple weeks, so maybe I'll do that, where I just like dedicate one day, no phone at all. Like I throw it in a drawer and I leave it, and anything I do is just whatever. That'd be interesting. I might actually do that. What about your life is different today than it was a year ago? A year ago today, sister was in high school. That's a big difference. So sister's at college. I was technically living on my own, but not necessarily at the time. I wasn't renting at the moment. I was just kind of living in my mom's house. I'm renting my mom's house now, and I've kind of taken more control over the stuff in my environment a little more around here. Work was a big difference. I was in management last year, and it wasn't my fault. It just didn't work out. The department and how things were structured, it just sucked. So that got ex-nayed. But that was also like probably the most stressful couple months of my life. Didn't have a podcast, didn't have a studio, wasn't posting on YouTube. Other than that, I don't think there's a lot of differences necessarily. I think I've grown and I've bettered myself in ways and learned more about myself. But in physical situations, I wouldn't think a lot's happened. Okay, I'll do 2 more cards. I'll do that one, and I'll pull a random one from the middle. Okay, we'll do 2 more, and that'll be it for today. If you could relive a day from the past without changing anything, which day would it be? You know, it might be my open house. It was a lot of fun. To see everybody, and I think attention is very important to people and kids, and at the time I was 18, but I wasn't necessarily lacked attention as a kid, but I definitely did not get enough feel like enough attention from certain people in certain situations, and like friend groups and socially at times. And I think that's why I acted the way I did in school, was trying to get attention in some form or another from my peers. But I really enjoyed my open house, the day of my open house. It was a lot of fun. Basically a day to me, and that never really happens. So it's really cool that everybody was there for me, and it kind of showed how many people actually cared about me. So that was actually very, very nice. And it was a lot of fun to just talk and bullshit with a lot of people. Some of the conversations I wouldn't necessarily want to relive, like, oh, what are you going to study? What are you doing in college? Because at that point, I had not said I was not going. And I wish mine was better. I don't want to compare my open house to my sister's necessarily, but the one thing I did dislike that mine lacked was once it was over, it was just over. Like when Bailey's was here, we had people here for hours until the evening and did shit and hung out and whatever, and that was the thing I didn't have. Like mine was kind of in the day, middle of the day, and after it was over, everybody just kind of left, and I was just kind of sitting there on my own. My sister had friends over, I did not, and it was just kind of like, well, shit. It was a great day, but there's certain things in my life where it's like, I don't think Bailey would want to admit it, and I'm not bashing her, but there's certain things that my sister has gotten and done and had better situations than I have that she probably wouldn't want to admit, or my mom or someone else. But there's stuff that I've lacked that other family members have not, and that's what's sad. And I know it's not great to compare to other people. You just got to compare your life to your own. And when you do compare your life to others is when you have issues. And life's not fair, and that's a fact. But it's just, at times it sucks. But you just got to move on and live your life to the fullest, the greatest you can. It's just, when you look back at certain things, it's like, man, I wish that happened or whatever. But who doesn't have that? But when was the last time you cried and why? Ooh, I feel like recently I've honestly been needing a cry. I really don't know why. But, and I guess the closest thing I've had to a cry, like it wasn't like a cry. Like I haven't had like a cry. Oh man, maybe like was that this year? No, it wasn't. Fuck. I haven't had like a cry in like a year. No, it was there. It might have been less than a year, but no one knows that one. That was the last time I had a full cry. I guess I kind of cried last week. I was actually watching a video from MD Motivator on YouTube. It was like 8 minutes long, and it was like, if this video doesn't make you smile, I don't know what will. And basically he stood out front of this train station, airport, something along those lines, had a bunch of flowers laid at his feet, with a blindfold on, with a sign on his chest, and it said, like, if you're missing anybody this holiday, or give me a hug if you're missing anybody this holiday season or something. This video was like last year or something. He recorded it, and it was very, very emotional. A lot of people were crying. A lot of people were talking about like people they missed, people that have passed away, family members, parents, and it got me. Like I did kind of cry. Like it was an emotional like sadness and joy, and I did cry. Not like I said, not like a complete breakdown, but I did have some tears running, and my eyes were wet to say the least. But I think I am in a need of a good cry, and I don't know what I'm gonna get it from, but eventually it will come. Well, I hope you guys did enjoy this week's episode. I know it's nothing crazy. We'll get to some crazy stuff here in the future, and I will finish that book next week for you guys, and we'll discuss, and we'll go from there. But I hope everybody's had a great week. I'm glad I'm not sick right now like I was 4 or 5 days ago. Hopefully this week will go a lot better. I'll see you guys all later. Peace out, everybody.